Okay, moderate. All right. So, good morning, students. So, the subject is advanced clinical chemistry, and the subject code is 20 MLP 308. So this is advanced clinical chemistry. Here we have only two units. Unit one is all about heavy metals, and unit two is cardiac markers or all system markers. So unit one we have discussed all basics about the toxicity, the lethality, the sources, and the consequences of all heavy metals on human biology in the ecosystem and to the nature, and their sources, how this biomedical waste is linked with heavy metal toxicity. So we have seen all these things. Then we started discussing about basic properties of toxic metals, their classifications, essential, non-essential, target organs, everything, their sources, anthropological causes, everything we have seen. Then we came to unit one, and I have strata. Okay, I have segregated all these heavy metals into these 8 points. And in the syllabus, we have these heavy metals: aluminum, antimony, arsenic, beryllium, cadmium, chromium, cobalt, copper. So far we have completed up to chromium toxicity. First six elements has been completed. So I'm just going fastly. So first we discussed about aluminum toxicity, its effects. Then we discussed about the second one, the stibium toxicity. So stibium is present in this eyeliners. Then we discussed about other heavy metal. Then we discussed about arsenic. Arsenic is one of the more deadliest metal that will cause this one. What is it? It will cause this death. Okay, this is used for rat killer. Then we discussed about this one, cadmium. So cadmium is usually used in this one. What is it? Oh, sorry, beryllium. Beryllium is used in this transmitters, radar transmitters. So all radar transmitters has this beryllium. Then we discussed about the cadmium. So cadmium is usually present in the battery. So I'm constantly getting students. If you have doubts, you can text me after this class. Okay. So right now, please attend the class. Okay. So cadmium. So cadmium toxicity. We have seen all cadmium toxicities. Then we have started discussing about the next metal also, chromium. So chromium is used as alloy in steel. So chromium will cause a lung cancers. So we have seen all things about chromium. Okay. Then the next metal we will see today will be cobalt toxicity, cobalt and copper toxicity. So in today's lecture, we will discuss in detail about this cobalt toxicity. What is this cobalt, water, its health consequences, we will see. Okay. So now I want to tell one thing, students. From chromium onwards, from cadmium, chromium onwards, we have certain health benefits also. Not all heavy metals are toxic. Some heavy metals will also act as a cofactors, and they are essential for our regular normal functioning of certain enzymes and certain biomolecules. So heavy metals will also act as a cofactors for normal biological activities. So some only few of them have this health benefits, such as chromium 3, cobalt, even copper and iron also have certain health benefits. So now in today's lecture, we will discuss about cobalt toxicity. So before going to discuss about cobalt toxicity, we know the significance of blood, right? So blood is vital. Blood is the life of, it is the fluid of life to us. So now this blood, especially the red blood cells, will be synthesized within the bone marrow, in the bone marrow for the erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis means red blood cell synthesis. Now for erythropoiesis, we need one very extremely important vitamin. I'm telling extremely important vitamin, and that vitamin is vitamin B12. Only in the presence of vitamin B12 and the hormone secreted by kidney, that hormone is erythropoietin. Only in the presence of this erythropoietin and vitamin B12, a red blood cell can be synthesized. The blood can be synthesized in the body only in the presence of vitamin B12. Now, do you know the scientific name of vitamin B12? So the scientific name of vitamin B12 is cobalamin. Okay, cobalamin is called as vitamin B12's scientific name is cobalamin. So by that we can understand that cobalamin, that means vitamin has some cobalt element in it. Vitamin B12 has some cobalt. Cobalt is the primary molecule that is supporting the structure of vitamin B geometry. Okay, so vitamin B12 central core structure is cobalt. Without cobalt, vitamin B12 cannot be synthesized. So cobalt has a very huge health benefits. Okay, cobalt is very essential for synthesizing vitamin B12 in our body. Okay, so but anything excess will be a dangerous. So excessive cobalt can also cause certain harmful effects. So first, let us see the uses and effectiveness and its importance on human biology. How cobalt is used. So by this, you understood that I will discuss the story of vitamin B12, right? So cobalt toxicity and cobalt uses. So yeah, now students, this cobalt is used in many hip and limb movement transplants. So whenever anyone met with any accident, we will keep that the steel rods, right? That steel rods are made up of cobalt. Okay. So see, previously we thought that cobalt has a very less rusting and it won't affect human biology. But upon transplanting, we came to know that cobalt can induce toxicity in certain patients. So in that patients, we need to remove their implants again. So see here, the cobalt has been rusted with, it reacted with the oxygen and it rusted. So sometimes this cobalt toxicity occurs because of treatment also. In one patient, we also identified that upon having a transplant in the leg, this cobalt toxicity affected, it spread to the heart and it resulted in cardiac arrest of one particular patient who has undergone this hip replacement therapy. So this is a really concerning problem. Cobalt usage in surgical transplants has been not recommending nowadays because of its proven toxic effects. Okay, so but coming to the positive side of cobalt, so cobalt is the central atom that supports the structure of vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is also called cobalamin. So without vitamin, okay, almost all the biological metabolisms are dependent on this vitamin B12 activities. Without vitamin B12, you, yes sir, sir, I'm in class. Yes sir, I'm in class, sir. Okay, really sorry, students, interrupting in between. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, what we are discussing the clinical significance of vitamin B12. So vitamin B12 is very essential for this vitamin array. Cobalt. Cobalt is very essential for synthesizing vitamin B12. Okay, enter vitamin B12 chemical structure is dependent on cobalt. So and vitamin B12 has a huge health benefits as I stated. Almost all metabolic activities within the body are dependent on vitamin B12 directly or indirectly because all organs requires oxygen and that oxygen has been primarily transported by blood. So without blood, we can't alive. We won't be alive. So for blood, for keeping blood in a healthy state, we need vitamin B12. So this is all about vitamin B12 and its significance. So it's a cobalt is a gray metal that gray metal. It is present in vitamin B12. Same story. Whatever I say. Okay, so vitamin B12 or cobalt is essential for proper synthesis of red blood cells, elevated neuronal activity also. Even proper neuronal function, we need this cobalt. Okay, and cobalt is also important for energy metabolism in sugar breakdown, and also cobalt is essential for thyroid hormonal regulation and even iron absorption. Optimum iron absorption by cells is also regulated by this cobalt. Okay, so cobalt has many uses in the body and the cobalt can be the sources of cobalt. So cobalt can be obtained by vegetables. Green vegetables has so much cobalt activity. Okay, cobalt is there in green vegetables. That is why the people who are extensively dependent on vegetative diet, so-called vegetarians, these vegetarians are highly prone to get cobalt mediated toxicity. As I stated, anything excess will become a toxic to us. So now and then having some meat sources is also good for health. When I say meat, if you're a vegetarian, at least go for egg. Okay, egg or some this one mushrooms. So-called we are categorized them as a vegetative side. So yeah, so at least now and then have some meat products or meat derivatives because our body requires these things. Okay, see, biologically speaking, humans are carnivorous. See, we have this canine teeth. The reason why we have canine teeth is our ancestors feed on meat. So our ancestors are dependent on both meat and vegetative diet for their survival. So maybe this recently, because of this, new age, modern age behavior and culture has given us this arise of, caste mediated or any mediated vegetarianism, so-called. But biologically speaking, humans are evolved from meat-eating animals. Okay, we are carnivorous, so there is no wrong in eating any meat. At last, our body demands this all at vitamins. Our body metabolism is dependent on this. It won't care your psychological state. It's a biological body, and it is derived from 4 billion years of evolution. So the metabolism won't care about our beliefs, right? So a healthy diet is very important. So that's why nowadays we have this alternative products. Like we can also take cobalt from supplementations, like tablets or these capsules. But having a meat diet is not a taboo or is not a bad thing. Okay, because our body demands all these vitamins and all these resources. So that is my personal suggestion to you. Okay, don't take it too personal. I'm just telling about the scientific approach of this. Yeah, so this is all about the vitamin cobalt and its significance in vitamin B12 activity and this synthesis. So vitamin B12 has many good things, students. The same story I'm telling in these slides. So vitamin B12 sources, whatever I kept up is, that image has all the things. They are the food sources of cobalt. Okay, like all these fishes, oysters, mussels, leaf, beef, kidney, milk, and cabbage, lettuce, spinach. So all green vegetables has a cobalt. Okay, so you should go with the green vegetable diet also. Yeah, so deficiency in cobalt results in deficiency in vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 deficiency can cause serious illnesses like scurvy, liver disorders, bone marrow disorders, anemia, menstrual abnormalities, visual abnormalities, uh, tiredness, weakness, uh, uh, even neurological abnormalities can occur because of deficiency of vitamin B12. And vitamin B12 is entirely dependent on cobalt supplementation in the body. So everything is interconnected. Okay. Yeah. Toxicity. So rarely excessive cobalt can cause a toxicity. It will cause excessive neuronal activity. See, neurons working excessively can also be a problem. Neurons at working lesser than optimal range can also be a problem. Okay, if neurons are working excessively, they will cause muscle spasms. Okay, that is why in people who has leprosy or some people have this muscle spasm, permanent muscle spasm, because of their neurons are keep on exciting. So similarly, this excessive cobalt will cause muscular spasms, especially it will cause cardiomyopathy. It will cause cardiac arrest. So the heart will start over functioning. It will pump more blood. Its activity will increase more, and that will also cause a problem, and that results in a state called congestive heart failure. So congestive heart failure can also occur because of this excessive heart activities also. Okay. So too much intake of cobalt may cause enlargement of thyroid gland, goiter, and thyroid goiter can be seen. Cobalt can also increase blood sugar levels indirectly. I'm not going to discuss the pathways. And since cobalt is a key part of vitamin B12, people with the Leber syndrome means these are the genetic predisposed people who doesn't have the mechanism of synthesizing B12, okay, vitamin B12. So it's a rare eye condition, should be considered, and for these patients, for proper eye function, they must depend on cobalt and vitamin B12 supplementation. Okay, so as I stated, conclusion of this cobalt story. So conclusion, cobalt is an extremely healthful nutrient. Vitamin B12 is necessary for treatment of umpteen means greater multiple number of alignments, including neural disorders, hyperlipidemia, heart problems, skin infections, headaches, insomnia, even lack of sleep is associated with our cobalt and vitamin D activity. So hence it is strongly advocated to use it within the prescribed quantities to steer clear of harmful side effects and enjoy the health benefits of cobalt and vitamin B12. So very simply, we must have vitamin B12 supplementation regularly, and vitamin B12 can be given by this cobalt. Okay, so how we will check this cobalt toxicity? How do we know that the patient got excessive cobalt intake? So that can be done by simple biological test. So the ideal sample will be serum. So you take serum and you go for a cobalt level estimation. So there are certain things like patient preparation, contraindications, some things are there. Okay, patient should not have certain drugs. Okay, that is a small thing. So the ideal sample will be 1.6 ml, and let us see the normal values. So cobalt less than 1 nanogram per milliliter of blood is normal. Okay. So in a patient who has some metal implant, for them up to 10 nanograms is fine. But cobalt, okay, cobalt levels greater than 1 nanogram in normal individuals is considered as a toxic effect, and concentrations greater than 5 nanograms suggest as a major exposure and likely to be toxicity to the cobalt toxicity. Okay, so this is all about the cobalt and its lab diagnosis and treatment. So coming to the treatment, so the patients who has undergone this transplantation and has been exposed to cobalt toxicity, they can be treated with the chelating products. So there are certain chemicals that can be used to neutralize the cobalt toxicity. So chelation therapy can be initiated in the patients who has got this transplant mediated cobalt toxicity. Okay. So this is all about the treatment of cobalt toxicity and preventive measures. Okay. So please take care of your diet and your regular food intake, because that, see, at last we are what we eat. Okay, isn't it beautiful? Just by eating some random stuff, all the complicated organs in our body will function. So you need not to do anything much. We need not to be any gods or any, supreme intelligent creatures to take care of individual organs. We need not even study MBBS. Okay, just eat properly, and the body will take care of its own business. Okay, it does not require any other intervention. All it needs is an intervention of food. You give some food to the body and it will take care of itself. Such a beautiful automatic robots we are. Okay, very interesting. Human biology or any animals, to be as a matter of fact. So this is all about the cobalt toxicity. Okay, so let us go to the next heavy metal. So because of this LMS, some of our time has been consumed anyway. So next heavy metal will be copper. So copper toxicity. Okay, so I guess uh, okay, I will give just a surface introduction to copper. In the next class, we can have in-depth analysis of this copper toxicity. Uh, so next heavy metal toxicity is copper toxicity. So copper, just like our chromium, just like our cobalt. So copper also a good and bad element. Okay, a limited amount of copper can give us a health benefits, but excessive amount of copper can cause toxic effects on human biology. Okay, so copper toxicity can cause this eye disease. This is called Kaiser Fleischer rings. Okay, some tongue twisting disorder. So Kaiser Fleischer rings. So this is a development of some brown ring around eyes. Okay, this is a eye disorder which is occurred due to this copper poisoning. So copper we are using in our regular products, right? So we need to reconsider when we are using these copper products also. So usually they will advertise that copper has many health benefits, but we need to rethink about it. Okay. Yeah. So there are many problems with this one, with copper problems. Okay. So copper is element which is present in the nature in a form of cuprous. Okay, cuprous state. So yeah, so let us see the health benefits of copper. So copper is very much important for angiogenesis. So what is this angiogenesis? I have worked on this angiogenesis during the master thesis. So angio, especially in the cancer studies, so cancer and tuberculosis. So angiogenesis means production of new blood vessels. Okay, synthesizing and production of new blood vessels is called as angiogenesis. But if there are more blood vessel productions, then that can cause a cancer. So normal healthy blood vessel production can be done in the presence of this copper and neurohormone hemostasis. So the way the neurons are interacting each other and they have their own microenvironment, okay, cytokine microenvironment, and that cytokine microenvironment regulation is utmost important in order to in order to suppress any other neurological abnormalities. So it can also be a good element in regulating neurohormone homeostasis mechanism. It is good at regulating gene expressions. It is good at brain development, skin pigmentation, immune system functioning, and also it will be act as a defense against oxidative damage. Okay, so our body is under constant attack of this formation of oxidative reactive species, okay, reactive oxygen species, ROS formation. So this ROS, these free radicals will be oxidized, deneutralized with the help of this copper. So copper is a brown colored metal. It's not toxic as in the form of metal, but if copper dissolved in the water or in the blood, then definitely it can cause death. So that is a copper is also used for it is a famous fungicide. Okay, fungicide and insecticide. So in many crops, we are using copper as a insecticide, and copper also used for fungicide. Okay, to kill off, to remove any algal debris. The green color algal debris can be removed with the help of spraying some copper containing chemicals. Okay, and also copper present as an alloy in the brass and bronze. Copper pigments are used. Copper has this greenish blue hue. Okay, you know, right, that Statue of Liberty. So Statue of Liberty is in one certain greenish hue, right? So that is because Statue of Liberty is made up of copper, and copper in the periodic eventual exposure to oxidation, it became into that color. Okay, so we are using that color, that copper oxidative copper color for in many paints also. So this is all about the copper. Environmental exposure of copper. So how we will get exposed to this copper toxicity? So copper toxicity can occur due to usage of copper coated water pipes, copper cookware, drinking water contaminated with copper birth control pills. See, so this birth control pills also has copper. So somehow we are very evilic. So we are using heavy metals to prevent pregnancy. See, we are so smart. And vitamin and mineral supplementation, fungicides, all these things. Okay. So in the next class, we can continue about this copper toxicity. So I will just summarize today's session. So in today's class, we discussed in detail about this cobalt uses toxicity and its health benefits. So cobalt is a very essential heavy metal for synthesizing vitamin B12. That is why vitamin B12 is also called as cobalt. But cobalt toxicity can occur due to some limb transplants. Okay. So this is all about cobalt and copper. In the next session, we will discuss in detail about copper. Okay. So thank you very much, students. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Can I end this session? All right. Thank you very much.